Yeah, I saw that for a second with you.
Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of Holotheatre. As always, I am Dan Tartaglione, also known as D Tartag1. Joining me today is one of the nicest guys in Star Wars CCG, Mr. Mike Kessling.
I thought you meant me.
Well,
To be fair, Drew is actually much nicer than I am.
okay, that's fair. But I mean, Drew's
Whatever. I'll
also
be the bad boy of Star Wars for this
bad boy
this
of Star
spot for
Wars.
this
Do we
episode.
have a bad boy of Star Wars?
Yeah, but we probably should talk about that on the stream.
But yeah, joining us as our special guest is the our current NPC champion, Drew Lichtenstein. Drew, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Happy to be
And obviously, congrats on the NPC win. Like,
thanks.
This is what, your second major ever?
Second in-person major. I played most of the online ones in 2020. I did Texas Mini World and Worlds and NPC last year when it was online, but second in-person major.
So, how did it feel getting out to a major, making a top 8, and then eventually winning it?
Exhilarating, honestly. It's definitely kind of a head rush of a weekend. I came in with a goal of really wanting to make top 8, and then obviously to break through and win it was, I wrote about this in a tournament report, and Mike, let's do a plug here. Mike and I are the two people who have done tournament reports in the NPC. Y'all should go read those on the forums.
Oh, nice.
Very entertaining tournament report. Things broke really well for me. I know I got lucky in a lot of spots. Obviously, just the fact that even before the tournament, Joe and Hayes and Kyle were there and had to drop. Situation with Joe with COVID, and then Justin Desai having to not being able to play top 8 because of a personal commitment. And then even in the games themselves, I talked about this a little bit in my tournament report, and also you can catch the stream of the finals. But Eric, who I played in the finals, had a really tough opening hand. Basically, his deck was all around trying to get a Blizzard, try to get a walker out on turn 1. And we talked afterwards, and he has 4 commands, 3 desk cards and assignments, veers, a couple, Blizzard 1, Blizzard 8, double Blizzard 4, missed all that in his opening, and like 5 cards that he drew. And then conversely, my opening was like a dream. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better, if you told me what 8 cards I wanted my opening, we'd have like no idea.
Okay.
I had. So there's definitely some luck. Like, I wanted that. And then the parts that weren't luck were definitely support from the team. Definitely the best part about the weekend was, hanging out with the new allies, obviously Mike here, and then Greg and Charlie and Vic all weekend. We just talked cards all weekend, played a lot of games. We've been talking for weeks leading up to it. So it's definitely a team effort.
Well, Eric says in the chat that you're being modest and that you crushed it. So,
no, I don't know. A little lucky, little team effort. I'll stand by that.
I mean, just to say, like, what your team did that weekend was amazing. Like, you guys had 4 members in the top 8.
Again, three made it naturally in a nice surprising backdoor with Greg getting in there after Justin had to drop. But we'll take it. We'll claim it as half the top 8, which is actually another piece. Again, I don't harp on luck or whatnot, but the way that the bracket ended up was that I played Greg first, and then I was going to play the winner of Charlie and Mike. And so basically, like, when we first saw the bracket as a team, we were a little like, oh, we have to play. And then we were like, oh, but the way it actually breaks out is that one of us is guaranteed to the finals. But again, it worked out advantageous for me because Greg and Charlie both played decks that we had worked on as a team really extensively. So like, I knew their decks really well and had what I thought were pretty good play patterns for them because we had tested against them. But in particular, the no idea list that I picked up was something I had posted it in our team chat and they had seen it, but it wasn't anything like the Shadow Collective or the QMC lists that we had like hammered out together as a team, a couple months now. Actually the main no idea players in our team are Sam and CRG and Taco Bill and Adam Trumpo. And so, I'd posted and never had seen it, but I'd kind of worked on it a bit myself.
You guys now have Adam Trunzo on your team? Are you guys just taking like over everybody? Like you guys are just like absorbing all the teams that are not.
We are the Borg. Resistance is futile, I guess. No, Adam doesn't contribute as much. He's a big thing.
Okay.
But yeah, so it was advantageous for me a bit because like I don't think Greg or Charlie, who were both on Shadow Collective, had played like any Shadow Collective for his no idea match, right?
It also helped that you knew they had no space, so you could.
It helped a lot that I knew that they had no Zuckuss.
Yeah.
I mean, I joked with Greg as I played Bright Hope on turn 1. I was like, man, if he's stuck in that Zuckuss, last minute is card 60, this would be trouble.
So, and again, like you said, Mike, you made it day 2. You made the top 8. So congrats on that. This is like with the exception of Worlds, because you guys weren't at Worlds. This is your second straight top 8. Like you're on.
I've been on a fortunate run. I attribute most of that to Drew telling me what to do.
You mean you picked up 2 decks I wasn't gonna play and then they top 8? Yeah, I don't think that.
Ooh. So let's start on day 1. So day 1, with the meta and everything, set 17 just came out. A lot of people have been playing the Legend. Legend has gotten a nice little boost and everything. A lot of people are playing Let the Wookiee Wins or different variants of Your Thoughts Dwell on Your Mother. So what did you like going into the NPC, especially when it converted from the traditional bracket format to pods, and then literally almost like a last minute suggestion going back to Swiss?
Yeah, the Swiss was like you said, literal like 1 o'clock the day before. Basically, Casey was like, "Would you be cool if we went to Swiss?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." It just makes the most sense with so much uncertainty. I don't think much of the testing or thinking about the meta was built around necessarily, brackets or NPC, especially in the early stages. As I wrote about in the tournament report, as Mike has made fun of me a lot for, I kept locking in decks. I was like, that's the deck I'm definitely playing. And then like a week later, it's like, I'm playing a totally different deck. And I was a little schizo around the meta. You're absolutely right that like Legend was a big thing that we focused on and looked at because we knew it was new. And then, for Dark, it was a lot of the kind of standard players that have been around, CCT, Shadow Collective. One thing that we looked a lot more at in testing leading up, though, was Bring 'Em Before Me. Okay. Not because Bring 'Em Before Me got too much new stuff, though the 3rd times a charm Vader's Anger was really powerful, but because like it was a deck that oddly enough hasn't had like a chance to shine, kind of, in the sense that Slipsliding Away came out almost 2 years ago, but like at almost every stage there was just some other broken Dark deck, right? First it was ISB, then there was like another variant of ISB, and then there was Map, right?
And Map never seems like it wants to go away.
Right. But all this time, Bring 'Em Before Me is kind of hanging out there, and it's got like a huge activation boost. And then it was really popular at Nationals, but the problem is that at Nationals, it ran right into Old Allies, which is like its one kind of natural enemy in the meta. It's like a really tough matchup. And still, both Joe and Hayes made top 8 with it. But then on Worlds, people kind of backed down from Bring 'Em Before Me a little bit, but Canadian came out. And Bring 'Em Before Me, I think, has a naturally really good matchup. Bring 'Em Before Me likes to see like the mains. And so we actually tested a lot of Bring 'Em.
A lot.
Like it was like Mike and I only had one in-person. We only had time for one-person play testing. Mike is busy with like real life commitments, like family and work and things, I guess. And so we only had one in-person testing, and our in-person testing focused a lot on Bring 'Em Before Me. In fact, Mike was, I would say you were locked into playing that deck.
When I arrived on Thursday, I had every intention of playing Bring 'Em Before Me. It was, I had built it, I had rebuilt it, and then it lost every game that I or someone else played with it all day Thursday and all day Friday.
Yeah.
And that was not just like 2 games. That was like 8 to 10 games.
Yeah, and so the problem with Bring 'Em is we're realizing that the play patterns were just really kind of, if you knew what to do as commuting, if you knew what to do as like, you could get past it.
Yeah.
in particular with Legend, like when Mike and I originally were playing it, Brigham was beating Legend pretty consistently.
But, and then Drew was like, you know what? I don't care that I don't like Santa's Unique. I'll just put the second copy in my deck to make sure I draw it.
Yeah, basically, like it's just like, because you realize as Legend, you just have to survive like the first 3 turns, right? Because as Legend, you don't really want to give him Leia. You really want to get your Luke for 1, and then you want to flip, and then once you're flipped, all the pressure's off with your Destiny suspended. So you just need like your Rey to get through turn 2 or 3. So let's just find a sand. Like, let's just play a couple sands and force pile pull for it as needed. Now, to be fair, I don't think that means Brigham is bad. I just think it means and this is what happens when you have a large team doing a lot of testing. It gets a little inbred, right? Like, we figured out how we want to beat Brigham with the decks we're going to play, but it's not like there's a bunch of Legend with double sand at the NPC. Which is one thing I kind of take away from these events. This happened both at Nationals and NPC. I couldn't have told you up front the 8 decks I was going to play. Like, if someone's like, oh yeah, the 8 decks you're going to play, like the 4 darks you're going to play against are going to be Ralops with holocams, Walkers, Sigfa Flip, and Court Musicians. I'd be like, okay, yeah, well, why'd I, why are we trying to, what are we doing here with the meta, right? And so I think that's just like an interesting takeaway when preparing for these events. It's like, they're big, even the BC was small.
Dan, you looked perplexed about the Holotheatre ops with holocam, so we'll circle back to that later.
Okay. I'm guessing, I'm looking at the deck list right now. There was only 2 people that played ROPS, and they're both from Team Albany, so that makes 100% sense to me now.
Didn't Justin played ROPS, didn't he? I think Desai played ROPS too.
Yeah, he played ROPS.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And the Court Musician players?
That's Scott.
That was Scott?
It was Scott, yeah. I played Scott round 1.
You played Scott round 1?
Oh, not Court. CCD.
Okay. Yeah, because, looking at, like, the deck
Scum
list...
Musicians.
Scum Musicians, that makes sense. But looking at the meta, like, it looked like Legend was all over the place. Like, there was a lot of people who played Legend, like you said. But the top players, minus you and Justin Miyashiro, didn't play Legend. They played all other things. Like, there's that Eric played the Let the Wookiee Win dual deck, like I mentioned. And then, but there was like 3 players playing Court, or Communing, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, to get to like the decks that I finally chose, so after unlocking, changing my mind a million times, basically the day before the tournament, decided the decks after some testing, and I went with Legend and Shadow Collective.
Okay.
Shadow Collective was easy. I went with it because I just felt really good with it. I played it at Nationals where I poorly with Light, but went really well with Shadow Collective. I played it a bunch. I chatted a decent amount and played games in the morning with Bastion, who likes Shadow Collective a lot. And basically this list, and I know you mentioned he's in chat, is a list that Bastion saw from Eric Hunter and riffed off of to make his own deck for the Outrider Cup. And I really liked the innovations that Eric and Bastion put on the deck with basically cutting like all the dudes who don't draw on like cutting Chalk and Jodo Cast and even Rock, and doubling up on like Aura and Hondo, and then playing with High Destinies. And it really clicked for me, and having played a few games with it, I liked it. Up until the day before, I was pretty set on playing CCT. Like, I felt really good about CCT. And I did play CCT day 2, but I just like Shadow Collective because it gives you more flexibility. Like, it's just, CCT is very much a here are my dudes and here are my defensive interrupt sort of deck, whereas Shadow Collective has some more play to it.
Yeah, like CCT, at least for me, like I played CCT a little bit and everything. Like it's what you're going to do first turn. I mean, unless you miss like your pool with the audience chamber, you know that you're going to pretty much hold the audience chamber, and you're going to have tricks to survive if they come down, and then you're going to try to get to space, like, and hold space, but then you've got the liability of the carbonate, the chamber. So you need guys there. So, I mean, CCT, there's not a lot of flexibility on it that way. So I can see what you're saying with the Shadow Collective.
And then for Legend, I know I've been toying with Legend I liked Legend a lot. I played it in Worlds 2020, where I only lost once to Baroni within the 2 days with it. And on paper it seemed really good. It was just very hard to get it to work the way I wanted it to. And then honestly, an idea that I had on Friday that I tested out and worked well was that I decided I wanted to have a flexible start with it.
Okay.
Where I would play, and there were some matchups. So basically, it was losing games where the opponent could go wide and do its thing. Like Ralops and Aobs were both very bad for it, because they just could outdamage you. They could ignore your stack with Ray and just kind of do their own thing. And the one place where the deck can beat people up is in space. But the problem with those matchups is that there's 2 battleground systems, so they just run around between them. So I tinkered with the deck, and what I ended up doing is I made sure that it could flex out starting the Jakku system and Brave Resistance and start the Sight and draw their fire combo. And then I changed a couple other cards, like instead of there being normally there's not normally, but a lot of lists are 3 rows, 1 Poe. I made sure there was 2 Poes. So if I didn't start Brave Resistance, I could still find Poe to play.
Okay.
And once I did that, that went really well in testing. So I played against Greg on Aobs and beat him, and I played against Charlie on Ralops and beat him. These was them testing on the Friday before the tournament. And that's when I settled on Legend. So basically, those couple of matchups where I was feeling kind of bad, I felt like I could flex back into that. I think Legend still has some challenging matchups, and it's obviously a difficult deck to play. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. You can read the tournament report. The way I played against Eric and Swiss was just truly abysmal. But just in general, I could tell when playing the deck, it's hard. But again, Shadow Collective, I like how it has flex and it has play, right? No 2 games are the same. You have lots of options. You can defensive, you can defensive, you have flexible characters and interrupts. And I knew that for Swiss, that's what I wanted to play.
Okay.
Mike, what did you settle on?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about Mike.
Yeah.
So as we said, I was planning to play Bring Him Before Me. It was getting waxed on, waxed off, just getting smashed game after game. And so after I was able to function after our sushi lunch on Friday, we started talking about potentially building a 4th copy of Shadow Collective between the 4 of us, because I was lending mine to Drew. Drew's now saying, "Oh, I don't have to play it. If you want to play it, you play it." I'm like, "No, you should definitely play Shadow Collective. You said you wanted to play that longer." And Greg's like, "After the team tournament, I'll just drive back to my house and get all the cards that you need." But that's a 30-minute drive each way, and I'm like, I'm not thinking about this. So we just started looking through all the dark decks that I have built, and I say to Drew, why not Map? Maybe Map could be good. And Drew was like, Map could be good. And this was as the team tournament was starting. The 2 of us started playing games up in the room. Map beat Legend a couple times. Map beat Commuting a few times. And at that point, it was like, well, it's 9:00 on Friday night, and I have to decide on the dark deck at some point. And at least this has won a game in the state of New Jersey. So,
and also it really well. You've played a lot of Map before.
So it was easy enough to pick it up and just get a few games in. We go downstairs, start talking to Greg and Charlie. Charlie can't resist the thought of shipping the Map at the last moment, and he dives in as well. So, and then light side, Drew and I on that first in-person playtesting session, I played a game or 2 with the Yoda Commuting, where I beat his Shadow Collective pretty handedly in one game, and I forget what the other game was, but I won with that game too. And it was in the back of my mind, okay, this deck seems solid. I've played mains before. I like this deck. Charlie was also likely planning to play it, which also told me okay, I'm not crazy for thinking this deck is good. And I knew that I could get some games in, and he would likely be playing games with it too, Thursday and Friday. So between the 2 of us, hopefully we'd get to a list that we felt really good about. So anyway, I didn't have nearly any waffling on light side. And then Charlie jumped on dark side, and that's why the name of the tournament report is Symmetry, because Charlie and I would try to be as symmetrical as possible throughout the
Yeah.
weekend until he
And
messed
Greg and
it
I
up
were
going into the
symmetrical.
second day.
Day
I
one.
was going to say, yeah.
Greg and I both basically, we played 59 of 60 the same cards for both Legend and Shadow.
Well, I noticed like one big difference in your Yoda communing between you and Charlie was you went with one battleground, while Charlie had the Naboo battle planes. I believe you only had the Death Star to Chasm Walkway. What made you go
Is that
with
a
only the one?
day 1 and 2 difference, or?
That was right. Day 1, we had both battlegrounds. Day 2, we went just trying to free up more space because space in the deck to accommodate space. We just freed up slots and decided most of what we thought we would face in the top 8, we could get by with the one battleground. And Sokol beat me in round 3 of the first day with PTO. He went first turn, Jerdrod and Ty to Endor and said, let's see if you have space in your deck. And the race was on from the beginning. And so my hope was he wouldn't, if I got paired against him later in the tournament, that he wouldn't have updated his deck and would keep very light space and knew that I wasn't playing space the day before, and maybe having just the one battleground site, I could get around that. But Matt had sacrificed some of his space equity in his deck to have a better ground fighting force. So it was like, let's just tweak for that, hoping he doesn't change much of anything. And we thought all the other matchups, like for instance, CCT, which I knew for a fact Drew was playing, and so it was like that we knew going in, like, okay, I will have matchups where I don't even want this battleground. And so we decided to go with that. We played the Death Star 2-1 over the battle planes because we went down to 3 Wisas. What I played in GemPC yesterday, I had changed back to battle planes and went to the 4th Wisa.
Yes. So how did that match between the CCT versus your commuting deck go? Because I know in Worlds, a lot of people played CCT for commuting because they would pack like Disarmed and stuff like that. And you have trouble going down with Luke to the audience chamber. So tell us a little bit about that match.
If possible, if you have a Luke in your opening hand, you pretty much want to get him to the Carbonate Chamber first turn. And then depending on how your hand is, you may craft a hand where you actually want to go in and quickly attack the audience chamber, or that you need to wait a bit and pick your spots. Qui-Gon in Meditation is very stout against that deck. I also had like a Jar Jar Binks and in the day 2 list, things like that we thought could help some in the CCT matchup.
Yeah, our team is much bigger on Yoda commuting over Qui-Gon commuting, and almost everyone else plays Qui-Gon commuting. Like, Joe and KTOD, they're more on Qui-Gon commuting. We like Yoda commuting in part because it gives you access to the Qui-Gon that works with meditation, or they all work with meditation, but the Qui-Gon that gets back meditation, and like that's such a strong, efficient package in the audience chamber. Like just that Qui-Gon alone with his saber and meditation is 2 destinies plus 2 to the draws. He dies, you play him again, get back meditation. Like it's really
that's fair.
Right. One of the reasons I played CCT day 2 is because we thought we'd come up with a couple good tech cards for commuting. So we cut all the Disarmed because I just felt like the Disarm was too narrow, and because all the commuting lists are just playing Journal anyways. And the 2 cards that we added, one that I added that I really like, is just part of played going back to Court for a couple years ago, is Ghana Gleamort. Because you can drop Ghana Gleamort to the detention, to the 2-0 on Cloud City, cancel. Like if they just try to stack the other site and drain for 5 or whatever, you can just cancel that with Ghana Gleamort. And then the card that Charlie suggested adding a couple weeks before that like really clicked for me, and I was like, oh, this is really what I want with CCT, is the Jabba's Palace Lower Passages, which is the 2-1 that's drain -1 for light, but it has the you can move from anywhere in Jabba's Palace to it text. The idea there is that 1, it's a 3rd battleground site, or 3rd battleground plugged with the audience chamber and Nal Hutta, that if they're just trying to drain you for a bunch somewhere else, normally the problem that the correct play that people came up with versus CCT wasn't to attack the audience chamber, but instead just to go drain for a bunch. So you can either Ghana Gleamort, or you can just find your 3rd battleground and set up there for resistance. But then also, if they start to like pummel you in the audience chamber and you're getting whittled down, you just have like IG8 left, you can play that with the dungeon between, and then the dark side text lets you move there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can get away, still on the battleground. And they get the audience chamber and cancel scum, which is bad, but you haven't just lost, basically. And then also I was playing Galed, so against non-main decks, it becomes another place you can drink to.
Okay.
So it's a really versatile edition.
I was going to say, because I saw that on your list, and I was
and that's Charlie. That's all Charlie.
That's all Charlie.
That.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Charlie's tech. And as soon as he said that, I was like, because honestly, Charlie has so many good ideas, but he has so many ideas in general. He'll just say things, and most of them like, yeah, okay, and then like later I come around to it. But then that one, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that immediately. Like I wanted to dismiss it because I'm naturally I want to say a negative person, but normally when someone comes with a new idea, I dismiss it, and then a few weeks later, I incorporate it into my decks. But this one, I was just immediately like, oh, yeah, wow, that's a brilliant idea.
So yeah, we saw the game. I know you were on stream against Charlie in the semifinals and everything. I think there was a point in that game where Charlie looked like he was ahead, and everybody on the chat and the stream was just wondering like when you were going to concede, and then you had a pretty bad beatdown on him. And at that moment, Charlie was the one who initiated it, and everybody was just shocked about everything that happened. Like, let's go. Like,
I think in that game, so keep in mind in that game, he needed to win by 15, which is a big, thing to need to do against Scum in part because Scum is going to just keep itself in the game all game, right? It's going to keep retrieving from the objective. It's going to keep retrieving from Scum itself. And I had first strike out, so I had a lot of battles I was looking for. The game was pretty close at that point in general, but he was fairly low on life. And while what I'd done in that game is that there had been a little bit of a feint to space. So I went kind of hard to space at first. Unfortunately, I had like a battle that went poorly for me where I drew a 3 and then I actually drew the lower passages in question. So I couldn't even like break it one time. But I always have Nalhada in hand, so I was ready to I wanted him to commit a bunch of space. Then I would fly over to Nalhada.
Okay.
And then the plan for me at that point was going to be to match him at each site as much as possible. Because he grabbed Stunning Leader, which was smart. He needs to grab Stunning Leader, but I still have the Triple Bear, and also importantly means he hasn't grabbed Imbalance. So I'm going to be able to start looping Imbalance with that GD8. So he's not going to get that much from the Cloud City retrieval. And then I'll set up at my 2-1. I'll have a drain at my 2-1. I have a drain at the audience chamber, a drain at Alhada. I have the ping for my GD8. And so while on the board it looked close and he would win the game, he wasn't probably going to win by 15 with the setup that was going. So he does a little bit more of a spread. And I drop a character in front of his Figrindan ban. But it was Aura. And he wants to keep that Figrindan ban alive. And so he paths before I initiate battle. But I had Erica and another high-power character.
Yeah.
I dropped those in front. So between the Scum power bonus, he lost Hujix off the top earlier.
Yeah.
And I think he'd already used his solo. And so between the high power bonus and losing this extra retrieval he was going to need, at that point he only had about 15-ish in life. He needed the Figrindan and the Cloud City retrieval to get going. And so I think he knew at that point.
Okay. It's I remember him doing that now, and I was thinking to myself, why wouldn't you move during a battle? Because
the character was Aura. So I get first action and I would shoot the Figrindan.
Oh no, I'm saying against the Erica, because you went down with Erica. Yeah, wait with the path until you battle, and then path. I'm not saying that was.
It wasn't a mistake. It was. It's unique, right? That's the problem.
Okay, that's fair.
So he moved away in Drew's deploy phase, and then Drew followed up with 2 more characters at the 106.
Oh no! What I was saying was you just throw down the Erica and then battle, because not move during the deploy phase. So if he would have waited until the battle phase. So
Figrindan was at a battleground site. Yes. He was at a 2-1 by himself. And I played Aura, a character with a weapon. And so
Okay.
he passed then to the 1-0. But then I have a spy and
Okay.
character.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. I thought you came down with Erica. But then,
No, I
yeah,
came
that's
down with Ara, and he was like, I got to get away so he can't be shot. And then
That's
moves
right.
into a site.
Okay.
Um,
Now it's clicking in my head.
yeah. No, that I think that's why it wasn't clear on stream, right? Because everyone's like, wait, what just happened? It happened kind of quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, like, it happened really quick. Everybody was like talking about how like Charlie was doing well and everything, and then the handshake just happens, and everybody's like, I think that just comes down to us having the difference between in person broadcasting versus the off site broadcasting like we did.
Yeah.
But again, it went well. Like I'm
Yeah,
not faulting,
that weekend went off
Jeremy.
without a hitch. I mean, for everything that happened, it was just kind of incredible how well things came together. With Casey and Gurgle running the event and Jeremy doing the streaming. I've really enjoyed going back and listening to Jeremy's streams. Mike and Greg, jumping on at the end there. So,
yeah, I liked.
we missed not having you there, Dan. But I'm sure you'll have some good commentary.
So I gotta ask, like, when Mike and Greg, when you guys jumped on, were you guys in your hotel room to do it, or so you guys were just okay?
Yeah, I had an HDMI cord in my bag, so I hooked up my laptop to the TV, and then we were all just like sitting on the bed, watching on the TV and commentating.
Okay.
It worked out well. We were lamenting the fact that you weren't there, particularly my game against Baroni in the first two turns. There were 2 recoil and fears, a Grimtosh used. Later in the game, I went up to 13 cards in my hand. He again went for Grimtosh after he had just played Escape Pod the turn before, so I felt safe. I had to force push into a 3-card hand. And when we were watching this, or 3-card force pile, excuse me, when we were watching this, we then listened to the commentary, and Jeremy's very deadpan and just like, and here's a recoil and fear.
Which is funny in its own way.
And we were just dying. Like, if Dan had been on the call here, there would have been much more excitement.
I don't know. Like, I mean, okay, for me, it depends on how much coffee I get in me. Like, and especially like what time of the day it is. But Jeremy did a great job.
Oh, Jeremy did an amazing job.
Oh yeah, I'm not being critical of him. We were just laughing at Greg and I in particular were laughing. So he was like, Tartag may have had an aneurysm watching this game.
A little bit, yeah, I can see it. But again, congratulations to the both of you for making the top 8, and again, Drew for winning the entire thing. So, are you guys planning on going to Endor at all?
I am not, unfortunately. I have a wedding I'm going to that weekend.
You Atlanta people and your weddings.
Well,
I thankfully will be there. I actually booked my flight just yesterday. So okay. I'm getting in Wednesday and flying home Monday. Looking forward to it.
Nice. Well, for those who are wondering what we're talking about, wrong screen. Every time I do Streamlabs, it takes me off my primary monitor, but I don't know why. Again, the Endor Grand Prix is happening April 8th through the 10th, again, in Seattle. This year it's going to be at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites at the Seattle SeaTac Airport. Rooms are $94 a night, so it's not terrible. And then $40 for the main event, $45 for the entire shebang. Pre-registration is due by March 25th, so you got a little over a month now. And they actually have the schedule of everything. So Friday night is your team tournament. Chris Schoenthal is going to be there, so he's going to run that. Then we got the main event Saturday. Sunday is the top 8, and then the consolation event. So for those who haven't been to Seattle, it's a great time. Werfs puts on a pretty good event. So I know there's going to be lots of board games being played in the after hours. So if you don't make the top 8 or you don't care about playing in the Constellation Saturday night, a lot of people are going to be playing games. I know Greg likes to play games. I think, Mike, you like to play games. So don't have a list of people who are attending it just yet. But again, make sure that you keep in touch with the forums and everything if you are going. And if you are going, please take note of the COVID policy. It's going to be the same policy as the NPC Anybody who's participating in the event is going to be required to wear a mask and show that they have a vaccine card via the vaccine card itself, a photo, or a digital vaccine record. So, and apparently each attendee is going to get an XL PC deck box. So a little bit more.
Those things are beautiful. They're
are
so nice.
They are. I have one so far. I want to take the Brian Fred aspect and get all 6.
Yeah. No, and that's really some of the nicest parts of what the PCs put together. Thank you, Jared. Real quick, I don't want to derail. I did see Jared's question in the chat, which is he wants the Shark Tank pitch for your meaning. Mike pointed out Ray attrition less than 5, Han Chewie and Falcon immune to less than 7, Anakin being immune to less than 6.
Yeah,
like,
that's big.
Yeah,
telling you, just play double sand in every deck, and these high immunities really count.
I was gonna say I like the idea of I think Scott ran this at one point, the whole Luke in R2D2 and Red 5 plus Wedge in ships at Camino. They're both of them immune less than 7, and you're canceling a Destiny. Like it's really good. So we got the Jawa Cup still going on right now. We're in the we're in the finals. The finals are set. They're going to be Kevin Yop versus Ryan Jelson, our 5 and 6 seed. Once we know when they're going to be playing, we'll let you guys know. So make sure you stay tuned onto that. We also have the 6th annual GEM PC going on. We're inching closer to the finals. Looking at the bracket and everything, Joe Olsen advanced. We're waiting on London Shaw and Winston. Mike, you advanced to the top into round 4. Congrats.
Thank you.
You're waiting on the winner of Brandon Beatty versus Connor Britton. Steve Brenson and Treadwell will face off as well. Charlie is going to be playing Timo. That's going to be an exciting one. Might have to get somebody to stream it. The Charlie versus Timo match.
Yeah,
that's going to be.
Is the plan when we get a top 8 to try to get those to be streamed? Probably scheduled.
Yeah, we're going to get the top 8. So once we get the top 8, we're going to try and ask the players to get in touch with us so that way we can get as many games as we can streamed.
Yeah, I think the plan for top 8 also is to do deck list too, which will be good.
Yes. Yeah. Waiting on MHT, the winner of MHT versus JagTech. They will be playing Lawrence Craft.
Yeah, I saw that game 1 the other day. I think MHT won a close game 1. I don't know.
I think I remember that one. Lawrence, who beat Tom Hayde. Waiting on the winner of Babadook and Taco Bill. They will face off against Greg Shaw. So that's going to be a fun one.
You hate to see it if Bill can pull it off.
Yeah, that's the question. Will Bill pull it off? And then we had one of the bigger upsets. Bastian Winkelhaus was taken down by his Outrider teammate, Miguel Terran.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
a couple of big upsets. Bastian not going on. Justin lost. I lost to Heisenberg. And I don't know if it's an upset, but I lost Monday to Treadwell, who's actually I think was a very inappropriately seeded player. Treadwell's a very strong player. He just made top 4 of the Jawa Cup. I know he plays or he at least talks a decent amount with Joe and is a really strong player. And we had a good match Monday, and he definitely just outplayed me. So.
You know what? I think it's just showing evidence of the fact that the community is getting a lot better with the like. We're looking at all these people who are playing on Gemp and everything, and now they're just getting there. There's not like that 4 or 5 people who are really good. Yeah. It's actually the community is showing that it's getting better. Yeah,
I mean, I only am where I am because I had access to play and get for a couple of years. You know, like it's definitely helping even the field a lot for sure. Which makes it exciting, right? I mean, you get events like this, and you know, Justin and Bastian and a couple other good players. I saw surprised. You know, like Tom Hayde. You know, didn't advance, and it's not because they played poorly. It's because they played against. I mean, Bastian, Miguel just played really, really well. You know, like that. It's not a fault of. It's not. It's really good.
And then Silver Glen, Justin Branch advances over
Yep.
Tom Kelly, and then we're still waiting on Paul Myers versus Wayne Cullen. So I believe Jared says in the chat that Connor and Brandon Beatty will be playing in in approximately 2 hours.
And I think Connor won game 1 by a decent margin.
So I know Mike will let you know who wins that one.
Sounds good. I'm ready. I'm ready to ask Drew what I should play.
And then be like, fuck it, I'm playing map anyways.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they can forget to name resistance. It's much more fun to play map in person to see if we remember to show the agent or not. On GEMP, we don't have that issue.
No. And speaking of GEMP, the OCS is going on right now. Currently, one player has all 12 games in. And if you're wondering who it is, you don't pay attention to the OCS because everybody knows this player. Timo Dussel has all 12 games in. He's 7-5. So congrats, Timo, on being the first player to get all 12 games in. And after that, you have Brad Reinhold sitting at 4-5, and then Connor Britton sitting at 3-1, and then 2 players at 3-0, Jared Napolitano and Drew Lichtenstein. So
exciting to have the OCS back. One of my favorite things in life is to be in some boring work meeting and then to randomly see 2 great players playing an OCS game at 2 p.m. and just pop that open in my second window.
Yeah, I know. I want to say it was yesterday. We saw Jared and Joe played in the OCS game. It was quite a good match. Jared beat Joe, so good on Jared for getting a little bit of revenge. And then we got some new leagues coming up. So first of all, if you're paying attention to the Star Wars organized play schedule, those are up. We just had that posted yesterday. Again, the GMPC, the OCS, those are all going on. Well, we have some new leagues that are set up. I believe Robbie Hendon is going to be doing one of them. Bill's going to make a post on this tomorrow. That is going to be the Outrider League.
Outer Rim, I think.
Outer Rim, thank you. The Outer Rim League. It's going to be for one-offs. So anybody who wants to make a league of their own for like home stuff, you have those. And then the other league is the Retro League. So
that's open obviously to anyone.
That's open to anybody.
A regional
and
league.
If you like playing retro, play this. Like it's a good league. There's some good prize support.
Yeah, I think the plan is like kind of to do a new format every month, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's first. I mean, the post is there, but it's like first it's Premiere and A New Hope, and then they'll do Premiere to Death Star 2, Premiere to Jabba's Palace, Seal Deck.
I mean, just look at those prizes. I mean, those prizes are pretty good. There's Cloud City packs, Premiere packs, the Jabba's Palace packs, plus there's singles. Luke with lightsaber, Mara Jade, oversized Mara Jade, oversized Mind What You've Learned, plus 2 deck boxes, 2 oversized deck boxes, and 2 smaller deck boxes. So if you want to play in those are some good prizes.
It is a good haul for sure.
And like I said earlier, the organized tournament schedule, there has been a post on the main page. If you want to check it out, go ahead. It's talking about everything that's going to go on in Star Wars CCG over the 2022 year.
Come to Atlanta for Worlds in October, everyone.
Yeah, you guys are going to host Worlds. Who's actually going to be the main point of contact? Do you guys know?
I have been up until now, but that's because we thought Mike was moving. Now that he's not, I'll probably try to find some way to get off to him.
I was like, it's true. It's true.
It's true? Okay.
The 2 of us will probably really actually just tag team everything.
There you go. I think Paul Myers is down there. You should get him to run some stuff too.
Paul's a couple hours away. Hopefully he'll come to Worlds. It'd be great to have him.
I think he said if there's going to be a tournament in Atlanta area, he's going to want
to
come.
He couldn't make like our last regionals either. He's a little bit further.
That's fair.
Yeah, he lives in, I think he lives in Augusta. It's about a 2.5 hour drive probably. Well, we have a decent Atlanta scene here. I'm optimistic we'll get some of the guys out. Frodo has been dipping his toe back in the waters of trying to get competitive, so hopefully Jonathan will be there at Worlds. We'll see.
first step, make a cube with spice in it. You know, that's how one gets back in the game.
Okay, gentlemen, are you guys ready for some swing and a miss questions?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, first question of the evening. It's going to be an over/under question. 2.5. So over/under on 2.5. 1 through 3 seeds who will make the Gem PC top 8. So really quick, again, let's look at some of the 1 and 3 seeds.
I had this here. So I think it's pretty close. So this is for top 8, right? So
yeah.
Joe probably, not to discount London Sean or Winston, but decent shot. The next one, no, because that's already been eliminated.
Yeah.
Next one, no, neither.
So Charlie's a 2 seed.
Charlie's a 2 playing a 3, right? So that's definitely 1.
And we don't have a 1 or a 4 seed out of the Desai bracket. The 4 seed from the Joe bracket is Connor. So actually,
no, it would be
Connor.
No, is it Connor?
Oh no. So Jared and
it would have been Jared.
No, Matt Scott.
Right.
Matt Scott's the 4 seed, so no. Jared and Brian Fred, no.
I think we'll get 3 at least, because if Joe, we'll say Joe, and then the matchup between Charlie and Dylan guarantees 1.
Greg's another one. Greg's
a potential another one, so, and then if it's Silver Glen versus Paul, then that's a guarantee of another one.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna say over.
I'll also go.
I'm gonna say under.
Whoa, bold statement.
Yeah,
I
think.
Hey, it's been a bracket of upsets so far, right? So.
Yeah, I think Taco Bell's gonna beat Greg. I think MHG is gonna make it. I think we got to guarantee. Well,
better question is over under 2.5 new allies in the top 8. Personally,
under. You know what? No.
We got 4 left alive with Mike, Greg, Charlie.
You know what? No, I'm gonna go over. I changed my mind. Over on 2.5.
I'll also go over there.
I mean, I picked Bastion to win it, so it doesn't matter anymore.
I forgot to do a prediction.
I didn't fill out a prediction bracket because I have this rule where if I'm in the tournament, I don't make the predictions because I always just want to predict myself, and that feels really egomaniacal.
I don't know. You should pick yourself for the NPC.
Maniacal, Drew.
Maniacal.
It feels egomaniacal, so I don't want
it. Okay,
but if you did it last weekend, you would have been.
I don't want to bet against myself because why would I enter a tournament if I thought I was going to lose? Good to point it out.
Man's got a point. On to question number 2. At least one of February's top 2 players in the OCS will have never been in the top 16 before.
That's a good question.
Ooh. Well, I mean, we have one person with 12 games in.
I'm going to say that's a miss. Because I think going 12-0 or 11-1 is still really, really hard. And I think that's still going to inevitably be your Bastions and Desais of the world. But I think could happen, very realistically, is that one of the at-large bids in the end ends up being people who have not been before. That you get people like Treadwell who've been playing like a lot and really strongly, who put on a really good run of several 8 and 4 months. But I think this month will still be.
So Bill is undefeated at 1-0.
I'm going to go on the opposite end. I'm pulling against Drew's opportunity here, and I'm going to say yes. We're going to get a Taco Bill and someone else. Has Jared made OCS? Isn't he undefeated?
No,
currently?
Jared. I don't think Jared has made an OCS.
Jared's made OCS. He made OCS 2 years ago.
Jared,
he wrote a tournament
Jared,
report.
have you made an OCS?
Jared made OCS. He went 11-1, and he wrote a tournament report on it.
I'm not. How am I supposed to remember?
I was going to say Jared. I was literally going to say Jared is the player that I was going to pick.
Then I beat him.
Yeah, I was going to say Drew. He said in the chat, Drew knocked me out. So
you mean ever, right? Not just last year.
Ever, yeah.
Ever, yes.
Okay.
I think if you extend it to ever, then it's probably. I would
Casey.
Casey could, yeah.
I don't know if he's played.
Casey definitely could. I'm just saying. I think in the end,
players.
you're 11-1 and 12-0 is almost always going to be a really strong.
I was going to say, Bill has said Kessling doesn't remember anything prior to national championship game.
That's fair.
That's fair. Okay, on to question number 3. Over under again, 39.5. The number of people who to play all 12 games in the OCS for February.
Oh, I'll go over.
I'll go over. There's like 80 people who signed up.
Yeah, there's 80 people. I'm going to say under.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think if people are excited enough to sign up for all 6 months, they'd probably play at least the first month.
Yeah, I think the first month is the most likely to go over here. I think there's a lot of energy in the game right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go with like mid 40s.
I don't know, like for me, it just feels it's rough wanting to play, like get all 12 games in, especially if you're like, if you start out 0-4,
that's reasonable.
Like it, but...
And a lot of people do 8 games to get the foil, right? And then after the 8th game, they're not.
Jerry's pointing out in the chat, if you get 70 games over the season, you get a PCXL deck box.
Hello. That just basically guarantees you're getting a lot of a lot of games. Those things are so nice.
Okay, last question of the evening. So we got the Jello Cups finals are already set. Who do you got, Kevin Yop or Ryan Jelson?
As an honorary member of Team Wales, I'm gonna go with Kevin.
Ooh.
I'll take the opposite, and I'll go with Ryan. Just in part because Ryan plays some creative, interesting decks, and I feel like Jawa Cup is definitely a place where he's been excelling, obviously. And I think it'll hopefully just be a great match.
I gotta go with Batmouse's Star Wars CCG wife, Ryan Jellison.
That was no slight against Ryan, just more the camaraderie and love I felt from Kevin and team when the 2 times I've been to Europe. I'm not going to pick against my guy.
That's fair.
2 times going to Europe so far. Hopefully.
Yeah, I haven't been to Europe so far, but I mean, those guys want me over there for some reason. Okay, Drew, it's that time. Are you ready for the lore challenge?
Oh boy, I don't know. As ready as I'll ever be.
So, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to.
I'll make sure my Twitch is not open. So
no, you can have the Twitch open. I don't show the card.
Oh, you don't.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the lore, and then I'm going to give you the option of the set or the type. Mike, you can help him on this one.
That's good, because if this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and I had to phone a friend, it would have been Mike anyway.
So again, I'll give you the lore, and then you have the decision of, again, if you want the set or the type, and you're after I give you the set or the type, you're going to have 10 seconds. You're going to have 15.
Okay. I hope it's that dude who shot Luke Skywalker, because we were talking about him in Slack today, and I don't remember his name yet.
Oh, I know the card you're talking about. I also don't know his name.
It's the dude who looks like a Tusken reader, but he's not a Tusken
To
reader.
clarify, Dan, these are all only Decipher cards.
These are only Decipher cards.
Okay, so the lore won't just be female because
no, I only do that for the piece. I only do that
Rose.
for the advocates, because nobody cares if the advocates win. I mean, the advocates don't even care.
Drew, if it starts with male authority, and I'm still, it's Mama.
Mama.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, your lore challenge is. It's definitely not that one.
Oh shit! He had Mama lined up.
No. I had one prepped and it changed it over. Expanded memory capacity. Escaped from pirates based in Mos Eisley. Programmed with the ability to both enhance and sabotage hyperdrive systems.
Oh, it's the droid they just virtualized that can be played in Diplo. So it's George When You Hope. Oh.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you want the set or do you want the character? Or do you want the type?
Give me the set.
Special edition.
Special edition. Oh, is that guy from Special Edition?
I assume this is a dark side card.
So you
Well, okay, so you can
have.
sabotage things. I
Okay.
don't know.
Your timer starts now.
God, it's gonna be R something something. R3A4. Is that right?
That guy's from Premiere. R3M4.
Oh God, how do you know that?
I don't know. I
Mike-
could be wrong.
Mike's
I might be thinking of the wrong droid. What's the? I think he's talking. I don't know. Could it be the droid that adds to the hyperspeed? That's the.
Yeah.
That card's not virtual though. That's the real card.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, oh, yeah. Right.
Okay,
What's it
time's
called?
up.
R3M4.
Yes, R3M4.
Final answer?
Yes.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. R3T2.
Oh,
But yes, it is that droid.
Well, even Bill had said that in chat, so I didn't feel comfortable saying it.
That's why
You
I
could've said
closed
it.
Slack.
That's why it's Sock. You could say it.
Oh yeah. Right. They didn't virtualize the droid. They virtualized the effect.
They virtualized Hero of a Thousand Devices.
Right. They virtualized some other droid that doesn't do anything.
Drew, I bought us 2 copies of that in case we wanted to play Diplo with the MPC.
Yeah, we locked that in for like 5 minutes.
So, one last thing. So, have you guys been keeping up on, are you guys on Facebook?
Kind of, not really.
Okay, are you guys following along with the best Star Wars CCG versatile image bracket that's going on?
Not. Oh, I voted one time for something because someone told me to do it because I could win like a random loot.
Well, so for those who are interested, again, if you go on Facebook, you have the option to vote. The bracket is going on right now. We're down to over half right now. The current voting process is either Master Yoda or He's the Best Smuggler Around. So that will be ending on Friday. So if you want to vote on those, go ahead. Tomorrow we'll be having I Think I Can Handle Myself and Cad Bane. So the reason I
there's
bring
so many good virtual card
there's
images
so many
now.
good virtual cards.
Every set now when it comes out, the cards are just so good. They look so nice.
Kevin Yap went ahead and put together something that's going to be kind of cool for this. Starting now with on all of our Twitch streams, anytime we do a Twitch stream, we have the best virtual card image bracket sticker book.
Cool.
So you'll see that there's little places for each of them, and you can put the card.
Man. Mike, this is what I'm gonna get Morgan for her first birthday.
Perfect.
And what they are, they're literally the virtual card on a sticker backing, and you can tell. So, just so if you get them, they're a little bit smaller than actual cards and everything. So you get those. You'll put them on the book. You can fill it out and everything. They're not full size. They're a little smaller. So like I just showed. So this one is Captain Rex. It's a lot smaller than the actual card. Cool. So, and the cool thing about these are, you'll get them from Twitch streams anytime we have somebody giving out something on the stream. So this is another way, something cool. And they'll come in these cool little packs. And Kevin wanted me to go ahead and open one of them, so I'm actually going to open one right now. This is the first time. I don't know what's in it. And, okay, so, oh, okay. So, I got the Angel, Isard, Grievous, and Rex. So those will go into the sticker book. And along with that, these packs come out with something special. And this is the only way you can get these virtual cards. And they're special holographic foiling. I don't know if you guys can see this on it, but you can see how they're all shiny and sparkly.
Oh, Rock. That's the card I was bribed to vote for in a Facebook poll. That's right.
Yeah. So, again, you can only get these by voting. Or by on participating on Twitch. So anytime we do like a live stream or something, the streamers will be able to get these out. And you can actually see like the other one. Oh, there's another one. I didn't see that. The Darth Vader Betrayal of the Jedi. So
very cool.
And this is the only way you can get these special foil cards. So Kevin is going to put these together. He's going to send them out to Jared. And I'm going to let anybody who is a member of the stream team, so Mike, anytime if you want to stream something, you'll be able to give these out.
Cool.
So, yeah, so they'll be starting here soon, and Jared and I will get something together and put this together. Now,
Nice.
Bill, I had no idea this is what. So, Kevin, from what he said, he made the image for Rock. So he took the picture for Rock. So I guess that's why he sent it over. And yeah, this is my card.
It was a picture, not a like he actually just went out and found
Yeah.
a rock. And,
So be on the lookout for these special packs that contain, like I said, stickers and special foil cards.
yeah, these new images are so cool.
And these are all of the 64 cards that are in this bracket challenge.
Yeah,
So-
the new foiling process is really, really nice too.
Well, yeah.
Like the ones that we got for at the NPC, like the new foiling process is really nice.
Well, yeah, the new foiling, like the new paper, is wonderful. Like I showed this to Mike earlier. I'm still working on a lot of these. I've got like a bunch done now, but
I thought it'd be nice enough that I'd be able
There he
to
is.
trade my top 2 foil to Brian Fred for we must accelerate our plans, but I was told it wasn't quite that level.
so we're gonna have more Holotheatre Heroes packs going out. I'm gonna send those over to Jared to get those out here soon. And yeah, this year's gonna be awesome, people. Go to some
Yeah.
events, participate on Twitch.
The
do
prize
stuff.
support is so nice. Jared's knocking it out. Kevin's making these people.
So
That's just so good.
that's all I got for tonight, everybody. Again, I want to thank Mike for coming on as our guest host, Rue coming on as our special host. It's always a pleasure, guys. Next week, it's going to be kind of cool because I'm going to have all 6 members of the winning Outrider team on the show. Team Europe will be joining me, and we'll talk about a lot of like the decks and everything that they decided what they're going to do, and how they came back, and how they redeemed themselves from the 2019 Outrider Cup. That one will be a recorded interview, so but we'll have another show going on just as normal as well. So until
Let's go.
next week, take care, everybody, and have a good weekend.
Everyone.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Thanks, guys.